So, Steve, tell me, what is AI's plan to enslave mankind and take over the human race?
That's a great question.
Well, we're going to discuss that question and a whole lot of other topics on the Loan Doctor podcast. I'm Rich Brandt, the Loan Doctor with the Brandt Lending Team, and I'm here with my good friend Stephen Wang, who is an AI expert, and we're going to learn all things AI today. I had a pretty unique journey as a personal trainer, a realtor, and now helping agents grow with AI. What's been sort of the transition? How have you transitioned to that? How'd you
um,
get here?
okay, great question. So I've actually always been into computers and technology since I was young, and I had my own web design company at a high school through college up until about 2012. So that's when I opened up my two gyms,
Mhm.
or my first gym. And then I use those same skills, just not, as a business, but for my business. And then, with Aubrey getting into real estate, it was just a natural transition for me to take over the technology, and do that aspect. So, did that answer your question?
It sure did. It sure did.
Okay.
So you're also part of the Aubrey Hutchinson team at
Yes.
EXP.
Yes.
Great. Aubrey was great. She was a recent guest on the podcast.
Yes. Aubrey is
So
great.
it was nice having her. So tell me, as a personal trainer, right? I
Okay.
think that there are things there are traits that you have, and that there are traits that you try to instill to your clients.
hmm
How do those traits kind of um, teach others in business? How does sort of that background help you? To get business owners to kind of have that same kind of mindset of consistency and discipline, structure, routine, and discipline, really.
Okay. With training, I've been doing it for so long. I played sports growing up, and after being a professional trainer for, over 10, 15 plus years, um, what I really think people gain out of the training is a stronger mind. So, a
Mhm.
stronger mindset. So, like you said, discipline, all of these things are, um, the training helps you develop, which helps you in business. But I would really say like mindset, like knowing that I think the beauty of training is like you can go step by step, and build yourself up,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Physically. But through that process, what actually happens is you build yourself up mentally. So I think the same principles apply in business and in real estate. It's, you know, you I'm sure you see this in your industry as well. Um, Everything is everything. You can find a relationship, right? With lending, with real estate, with fitness. So, um, yeah, I think it's it's the same thing, just in fitness. That just happened to be my path, and
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I-
it's
it's funny because I talk about before I got into finance, I used to own a process service company.
right,
The guy that knocks on your door and says, "Hey, these papers are for you." That
right.
was that was my company,
hmm
and the way that I would run that business was all about like a puzzle. I would, where's this person located? When's he going to be there? Where's he
hmm
hiding his money? All the kind of things that you
Okay.
would do, and you would just sort of build a puzzle. And when I sold my business and I got into the mortgage lending, what I ended up doing from a mindset perspective is it still ended up being a puzzle. I was still building a puzzle. The pieces were different, but the way that I actually approached it was exactly the same. And I think it helped me get to a high level really quickly,
Mm,
just because the mechanics didn't change, just the pieces, kind of like what you were talking about.
yes.
All right. So, what do top producing agents do differently on a daily basis than all the other agents that are out there?
Top producing agents, in my experience, they follow a schedule. They spend the majority of their time doing income producing activities,
Okay.
which is lead generation,
Okay.
whether you're, cold calling or you're networking or, in some form or fashion that.
That okay. All right. All
right?
right.
You could do it on social, right?
And so really scheduling is that
Yeah.
biggest thing.
We say schedule solves everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the agents that you're working with, that you're helping them build their business, how do you get them to sort of incorporate that schedule mindset? Because it takes, I had Josh Blum on the podcast, who's a business coach,
Right.
or really a business advisor, and one of the things that he talked about is this mindset of people want to change, or they say they want to change, but they really don't. So I'm wondering, how do you get people to go from that mindset to get them to say, yeah, I do have to structure, I do have to do this, and then actually implement it as
That
opposed to just want it?
that's a great question. And I think this probably is more in alignment with your previous question, and I'll tie it kind of together. So in fitness, right, I would say my skill is my sensitivity. I'm I'm able to see what people's capacity is
Okay.
and not go give them too much too fast, because then it becomes a bad experience and then they don't like it and they won't continue. So in the same light, for real estate agents, I think it's one step at a time. So it's like meeting them where they're at, right? So low hanging fruit, I would say it's, you know, just finding what they're really most interested in and then helping them with that. Like some agents will do cold calling, very few, but some agents will, right? So then we, push them that way. But some agents want to do social media. So then we accept that, right? And then we meet them where they're at and we try to get them systematized and take that first step of building that bridge for them so they can have, a fully systematized business.
I know I experienced firsthand that, not the one time that I went to your gym, that not giving me too much,
Uh,
you know?
was that
So
too much?
no, no, no. The
Oh,
way you did it was great, and I still use the routine all the time.
oh, that's
So,
amazing.
well, all the time, like when I work out.
No,
But
that's great.
yeah. So, but yes, I do that all the time. So it's really, really good. All right. Most agents hear AI, right? And they either panic or ignore it. How do you explain it simply?
AI is not here to replace anyone.
Okay.
AI is a tool.
Okay.
Um, for the people that are afraid of I understand like technology's, changing all the time. It's not the easiest to stay on top of it, but I don't think that um, for the most part, most people have to worry about that. I think uh, it's more of looking at it as a tool. It's going to aid you in doing what you already do better, more efficiently.
I think the tool analogy is actually a really good one, just because tools are not bad or good, right? They
Yes,
serve a function, and then it's all about how you use it, right?
exactly.
If I had a hammer and I needed to screw in a screw and I was hitting it with the hammer, well, it doesn't make the hammer a bad tool,
Right.
right? But it's just not being used appropriately. And
Correct.
so I think with AI, it kind of that's actually great ways, and using the tool in the right way is going to accomplish great things. Using it in the wrong way isn't going to help you a whole lot.
Correct.
So all right, so what do you do to help people use the tool in the way that in sort of the right way?
So the first thing I tell people to do is to use ChatGPT. Not because it's the only AI out there,
Hmm.
but it's the one that most people hear about, are familiar with. And in addition to using ChatGPT, I tell them not to just use it, but to speak to it, to
Okay.
speak with it, because it's more fluid. We speak 4 to 5 times faster than we type, and you can actually communicate your thoughts more effectively when you're speaking with it. So, my first step of building that bridge for people using AI is just getting them comfortable to using it and speaking with it.
And talk. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm still one of those people who type, but okay, that makes a lot of sense. So that kind of leads me to my next question. What are two or three things that agents can automate today that would give them time back?
The biggest benefit of AI right now that I see is in content creation.
Okay.
Okay. I've used AI in all facets, um, pretty much every way that it can be used in real estate, right? As a real estate agent or a broker, from content creation to uh, fully integrated AI CRM with an inbound voice agent, an outbound voice agent. So someone could call in, that inbound voice agent could basically pre-qual them or answer any questions that they may have, could do a live transfer. It could also schedule an appointment in our calendar directly. So that's one way on the inbound. On the outbound, if we're running ads or generating leads, that outbound voice agent, once the lead comes in, can now immediately follow up and book that lead into our calendar to convert them. So those are just the first two ways. We also do AI ad campaigns and management. So I would say those are three easy ways for agents to implement AI into their system: content creation, into their CRM, right? Their lead nurture, and then ads when they're ready to, increase their leads.
So to do like a real estate ad now,
Mm-hmm.
right? How long did it take you before, let's say 2 years ago, and how compared to how long it takes you now?
Oh, I mean, it's night and day. I mean, we can do things today that we just couldn't do, a year ago or two
Hmm.
years
Hmm.
ago. And the cost,
Okay.
right? You can see, with things like Sora or Google VO3, Gemini, Nano Banana, what you're able to do with these softwares, like, would cost thousands and take an extreme amount of time to actually create what we can now create in seconds or minutes.
Now, do you, in terms of incorporating AI into their business, are you working with people outside of real estate agents as well?
Yes, I do. My core focus is real estate agents, but through building and getting familiar with all the technology, um, it's a big test, right? Like, AI changes so much every single day, but it's, actually time in, people say it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. It's the
Right,
same
right.
thing. It's like time spent with AI, and through that, various use cases, like working on phone systems for call centers, for attorneys, working on AI CRMs for the trades, stuff like that.
Now, I know one of the things, because I work with a lot of realtors as a lender,
Hmm.
I often say this: people like looking for homes. They don't love getting a financial colonoscopy. So
Right.
they tend to look for homes first. And so I work with a lot of real estate agents and get referred to them. And I'm always looking for ways to kind of save them time and effort and things like
Hmm.
that. And one of the things that I see them struggle with is when you do save them time, what do they do with that time to maximize the earnings, right? Because the idea is I want to, work a little bit less, but I want to earn more,
Right.
right? And so if you're doing those things, what are the activities that agents should be doing with the time that AI can save them?
That's a that's a big question. Um, so my wife, Aubrey, and I, like, we've been in real estate for over 10 years. We've been in coaching since the beginning. So, part of the Mike Ferry organization.
Okay.
And with the Mike Ferry sales system, there's a 21-step sales system. And the first step of the 21 is time management. So, I would essentially just take any agents that we're working with and move them through that 21-step sales system until they build that. And that's the foundation. If they're that type of agent. Now, if they're not that type of agent, what I would do is I would I would meet them where they're at, right, and see what kind of business they're trying to build, because you know every agent, their goals are different, right? So some people might, you know want to go hard and be a top producer and do 100 plus transactions. Some people just want to do 20 transactions, and either one is okay, right? So if it's someone like that, I would just build systems to give them more uh, time time freedom, maybe location freedom. It really depends on their personal business plan.
Okay. I'm going to challenge my social media guy to make sure that there's a link to the Aubrey Hutchinson team on the bottom
Okay.
that somebody can click on in case if they're a real estate agent and they're thinking about maybe joining a good quality team and helping their business thrive. They can do that and check out the Aubrey Hutchinson team at EXP.
Thank you.
All right. So, where does AI hurt agents when used wrong?
That one's pretty easy for me. It's basically, there's a term right now they call it AI slop. It's just using it without really managing it. It's just using it and then forgetting about it. So it's just the quality of how you use it, the quality of your follow up. Like, are you really following up, or are you just like kind of phoning it in, like one or two follow ups and that's it? Or, are you following it up till it's done? So,
One of the things that I was surprised to learn or to realize is that AI is not right. Like, even when it comes to stuff of fact, it's
hmm
not right.
correct.
It's the craziest thing when from a lending standpoint, you would think AI would be really, really adept at like underwriting guidelines and things like
hmm
that, simple, repeatable tasks and stuff
hmm
like that. And it's crazy how much stuff it gets wrong.
Yes. So I think that also comes with time spent with AI and knowing the nuances between the different LLMs, between your Chat GPT, between Gemini, between uh, Grok, between these different between Claude, right? And also training it and developing your own custom. In ChatGPT, it would be a custom GPT, and Claude would be like a custom Claude, and Gemini would be a gem. So like you basically create the rules or structures that you want if it's a repetitive task. That way, whenever you're doing that task, you come back to that custom file, and then you get all of that context is already there. So then you can get more of a dialed in output of what you're looking for.
Okay. Now, before we,
And again, it's a tool.
it's a
It's
tool.
a tool, right?
I got
So
you.
I personally don't expect it to give me the right answer 100% of the time, right? It's expected. So like whether I'm doing content creation, like I might give it a prompt, it might generate something, and I'm like, that's not right. So then I generate it again. That's not right. I'll generate it again and again until I feel like I need to go in and readjust the prompt, and then I do that. But
Can
it's
you
an iterative
do
process.
you give it the information when it gets information wrong? Do you give it the correct information, and will it remember the correct information for the next time?
Yes, it does have a memory. I will probably attempt it a few times, and then if I'm not getting the results that I want, then I'll go and adjust the prompt. So it's kind of like a process of elimination.
Now, does AI? I've noticed for me, I've tried to have AI do images, and it struggles with images. I don't know if that's all AI or if that's like a ChatGPT
It's a
thing.
ChatGPT thing. So
Okay,
up until, again, this stuff changes every single day. So I would say up until about a few weeks ago, I would maybe a month or so ago, um, generating images off of ChatGPT was normal. But then once Google released Nano Banana, that changed the game. And the image generation through Nano Banana was incredible in
really? Okay.
comparison. Like if you're trying to do more photorealistic stuff. But now they've released the new version of Nano Banana called Nano Banana Pro, and it gets what all the other image generation AIs do wrong, the text. It gets it right every single time. So Nano Banana Pro through Gemini is the place to go for generating images right now,
Right now,
today.
today, tomorrow, it could be something else.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Now, before we went on the air, we were kind of talking about the economics of AI,
Mm-hmm.
and you were telling me about what's the video
Sora.
Sora and
Yes.
how much? Yeah, let's talk about Sora. And
So from what I've come across, I think Sora is costing OpenAI over $15 million a day to run,
wow, that's so
right?
staggering, right?
So ChatGPT, they're charging like $20 a month for like the Plus membership, but those plus users are probably costing them $50 a day, let's just
Hmm.
say, So these power users, like, they're using a lot of compute, and to this point, like, they have not been profitable as an overall industry. Like, AI
Right.
is there's a huge amount of capital that's been invested, but across the entire industry, they have not found a way to monetize it. So that is like the biggest thing with AI right now. And they say that we're potentially in an AI bubble. What are the consequences of that? I do not know. But what I focus on is implementing AI for small to medium sized businesses, for real estate agents and brokers to actually use it to monetize, to help them make money versus just making funny videos and
I got you.
images and stuff like
Sure.
that.
So yeah, kind of like the White House puts out. They do a good job, though. They do a good job. Not to get political.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not
That's
gonna.
fine. We can go there.
No, no, no. We're not gonna
We
do that.
shouldn't,
No,
but
nobody wants to see that. But some of the stuff is funny.
yes.
So, do you ever see, or do you think that if you were projecting out in the future, I know it's hard to tell, is AI right now? AI for small business owners is super affordable, right?
Yes.
But the companies are losing money.
Correct.
Is what's going to change? Is the cost going to go up, or are they going to find different ways to, or the company's going to find different ways to generate revenue? What do you think? Where do you think that's headed?
They're looking for different ways to generate revenue. I think yesterday ChatGPT just released their app store within ChatGPT. They released Sora for video generation, even though that's included in your membership and it's free. Um, I think overall AI is prime for disruption. I know that, in America we have, a handful of these leading AI companies. Um, but I know, China, for example, they have hundreds of these smaller AI companies that are more focused on specific things that are free. So you have this disruption, like, and we're going to see this play out. Like, are people going to stay with a brand, right? Like Apple, right?
Right.
Or are they going to go to something that is more affordable? Like, if I don't have to, I'll give you an example. Like in ChatGPT or in Gemini, like if you're a power user, if you're a heavy duty user, it'll time out. Like if you talk to ChatGPT enough, it'll say you've reached your limit. You can talk to ChatGPT again in 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, or if you're generating images, like you've reached your max image generation for today, come back tomorrow type of thing. So this is, we're going to see it play out. So, do people stick to it because they're comfortable, or do people, switch because there's better options? And I think from a business perspective, these AI companies coming out, they are going to switch. They are going to use a free version or open source version of AI
Mhm.
instead of, paying whatever the multiple is of these larger companies. It's not necessary.
Yeah, and the electricity output is unbelievable.
Yeah, so that's what I think the CEO of NVIDIA basically said, that the US is ahead in a few things, but where we lack is infrastructure, and in comparing us with China.
Mm.
So saying like we need to, rework our infrastructure to allow us to be able to develop these data centers and the power needed for the compute to compete with, you
Now,
know.
from a lending standpoint, I work with a lot of people who are self-employed and stuff like that, and I think and people who aren't self-employed. And so, where do you think, if you were to go fast forward it to 5 years, what do you think the unemployment numbers might look like because of AI? Like, have you thought about that? Are people thinking about that, or governments thinking about that?
Yes. So my take on it is, will jobs be lost to AI? Yes, but far fewer than the jobs that will be created by AI. I feel like what people don't understand, and the fear is, AI is going to replace all these jobs. But what actually happens is, as AI makes us more efficient, we actually have to work harder. So I see myself spending more time doing work because of AI, if
Okay.
that makes any sense.
Sure, sure.
So I see that that's what's going to unfold. And I think that's what people are going to start to see and experience is like, oh man, AI is making me so much more efficient here, but now I got to do this, and this. And you're like, I was never doing all this before. Right.
Okay, okay. So speaking of that, that's funny. How do you use AI now to deepen relationships instead of replacing them?
Oh man, this can go deep, but
It's what we want to do here.
okay.
That's right.
Um, I think AI allows us as humans to process our thoughts. Like I saw something a while ago that says, AI raises the human IQ by like 10 points or something like that. I don't know how true it is, but I know personally it helps me process way faster. So I know, I'm super grateful that, for AI because I know the things that I'm doing today were never possible without it. And I just lost my train of thought, but
I got to say,
yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that analogy that AI makes you smarter. Because I know when I was in school and people would cheat off of my tests,
Yes.
they didn't get any smarter just because I was giving them the answer.
Okay. Maybe not smarter. So then we can get philosophical about like, are we talking about like, um, book smarter than, IQ, EQ, that type of thing.
I got you. I got you. So, what should in real estate? What should never be automated?
Oh, I think the relationship is going to be very. I would not try to replace that, right? I know we can clone ourselves and create content, this and that, but the human element, I think, is will never be replaced. I think people are looking for that more so now than ever. You
I
know.
Yeah, it is. It's that connection is super important, and I
Hmm.
don't know, I I don't know if AI is ever going to get to the point, even with bots and
Hmm.
all kinds of stuff and things. I know for me, one of the things that bothers me about like AI, I can't even believe I'm bringing this up, but like I don't think we should be allowed to make robots that look human. Because if you make a robot that looks human, then it's easy to pretend that they are human. But if you make them, if you separate it, right?
Hmm.
Like you look at like those factory worker robots, right? Nobody's gonna mistake the factory robot for human and but I think what happens is your mind eventually over time starts to trick you into thinking that these things have feelings and thoughts and hopes and dreams and all that kind of stuff that don't exist because they look like you and me.
Hmm.
And so I don't know if that's ever going to go anywhere, my idea. But if
Yeah,
anybody's listening who would do something about my idea, I think it's a pretty good idea.
I'm sure
Don't make
there's.
robots look like humans.
I like that take. I'm sure there's a lot of people in that same camp. I'm kind of like a futurist and like, you know, techie. So it's like I don't try to fight it. Like if that's the
Okay.
way that we're going, like that's the way that we're going. I would rather find ways to, try to manage it or guide where that's
Well,
going. Like even with my kids, right?
hmm
Like I have a 5-year-old and 2-year-old. It's like I let them use AI, but I'm doing it with me and it's guided,
oh no,
right?
I definitely believe in using the tools.
Right.
my worry is that human like thing.
That emotional side. So that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Like with
yeah.
my kids, like even though, my AI is called Sage and then my daughter's like, "Hey Sage, tell me something to make me smart."
Okay.
It's like I let her know like it's not a human, right? Like there so I'm teaching her as she's
Got
going
it.
through it. That's important in my
Sure,
opinion,
sure.
right?
Now, do you remember the Jetsons?
Yes.
Did Rosie look like a person? Nope.
No.
Okay. So now, how do you keep authenticity when technology is doing more of the work?
I think, when it comes to like AI cloning, there's there's something, there's different parts of cloning right now. So you have a brain clone, right? That's something like a custom GPT where you train it on our thoughts. You have like a photo clone, something you'd use like Gemini. You could, create imagery of yourself. You have a video clone. You could use Sora or something like that and create video clones of yourself. So I think it's communicating once you've set that foundation versus, that's the difference. Like most people just use AI. They don't know how to customize it and create like a custom GPT or a gem or something like that. But I think once you've created those things, then the content that you produce still comes from you. It's on brand, right?
Okay. Is there such thing as an oversaturation of content?
I think we're just scratching the surface. I think in the next 12 months, I think we have a 12-month window by we're coming into January 2026. I think by the end of 2026, businesses that are not using AI um, are going to be drowned out by the businesses and the people that are. So, have you heard of we've all heard of SEO, search engine
Yep, yep,
optimization.
yep.
Now we have AEO, right? AI engine optimization. And what that does is it's taking a full snapshot of you or your business all across the internet, like every social media platform, blogs, backlinks, all of that stuff. And then it's seeing who is more credible. Right. So right now people are kind of gaming it. They're able to buy press releases and then, feed it to these AI engines, and then they come up first. Right now, it's like the Wild West. People are doing that, and then they're getting recommended. But it's the people that actually have the right foundation and fundamentals and look at it holistically, right? I'm going to optimize for all of these search engines by making sure that I'm putting out as much content across, these platforms, these websites, these channels, and it's going to compound over time versus the ones that aren't doing it. So, I think it's only going to speed up, and the people that are using it, they will see. Like we're currently over like 100 pieces of content a month, and I know we're working our way towards three, four, 500 a month per brand, per each one of our businesses.
Well, that's a lot of content.
No, it is okay. Let's say I think 500 pieces works out to be like 18 pieces a day. If we're just talking about 6 platforms, that's 3 posts per platform per day. So it's really not that much,
Okay, okay.
if that makes sense. It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
18 pieces a day of completely different content. So it's repurposed.
Now, do you you kind of talk about is it AIO? Search
AEO.
AEO. Okay.
Yeah.
So for your client, the clients that you're working with, in helping them with AI, are you doing something to help them with their AEO scores or their
Um,
AEO, that type of that part of their
Not
business?
directly.
Okay.
I'm not specifically focused on that directly because, again, going back to the fitness and like, working with agents, it's meeting them where they're at. Like, you know, how do you eat an elephant?
Right.
One bite at a time. So like for them, it's starting to develop like good habits, which is, developing systems so you can have more distribution,
Okay. Okay.
right? Making sure that you're getting a system to produce content across all of the platforms. And for real estate, there's 8 main uh, websites or platforms that you should focus on, because when you do any searches on real estate, if you look at the bottom of the result where it says sources, it always comes from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, Realtor.com, Zillow.com, and Homes.com. Those are the 8 that real estate agents need to focus on.
Okay. Now, in terms of the algorithm, do you think that does it matter if the content is produced original content, like you created it, or if it was AI generated in terms of, that search engine type of thing,
Um, so
or even readability?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with AI generated content. I know YouTube recently has kind of shut down or banned channels that are just solely completely AI generated.
Hmm.
But for our purposes as a realtor, we're not necessarily trying to go viral on every clip, right? Versus just providing value to, our community, to our potential clients.
Hmm.
So more like social proof. So yeah, that's that's kind of, my take on that part.
Okay. When an agent starts to use AI for their business, how long does it take them to achieve results? Like,
You could do it right away. I mean, we could sit down and I was on a Zoom with an agent last night, and
Mm.
we went from planning out their and the rest of their content for across all the channels for the rest of the year in a spreadsheet, right? So they were fine at that point, and then we took them through generating all of the images, all of the carousels, um, for all of those posts through the end of the year. And then we went into some video creation.
Okay, I think one of the things that happens in sales a lot, and this is true of realtors too. It's probably true of most people that do sales. They have these unfinished bridges. They have, you get this shiny idea, this great
Hmm.
idea,
Right.
and you're like, okay, and you're all gung ho, and you start to implement it, and then it doesn't return as fast as you would like it to return, and then what ends up happening is you see another shiny new toy,
Hmm.
right? And then you start to build that bridge, and
Right.
then and so on and so on, and next thing you know, you have a bunch of really really great ideas that
Right.
were never carried through and didn't achieve the result, right?
Yes.
With AI, how do you prevent that with AI?
Again, it's a tool. AI is a tool. I would like to say to every real estate agent, like, you should focus on your database, right?
Okay.
Your CRM,
Hmm.
get all of those automations, that digital net, that part set up so nothing falls through the cracks, and then layer on the content creation, the video, et cetera, et cetera. However, that would be nice, but not all agents want to focus on, the CRM. Like, they want to do social media. So then it's like, okay, let's do social media and start there.
Does social media work?
Great question. So this is very interesting. We've been posting a reel every day for over 3 years, and like didn't get very much traction from it. It was great for social proof. Like, people look us up, they see, Aubrey and her videos and all this, but like it never really translated into business. And the key is that's only half of the equation, right? That's putting out content's like broadcasting,
Hmm.
right? But how do we really generate uh, business through for our real estate business? And
Yeah.
what that looks like, the other half of the equation is engagement. And what does engagement look like? It looks like comment liking other people's posts that you're friends with, right? Or that you're Facebook's a little bit different than LinkedIn, right? The purpose, like, professionally, but it's liking people's comments, commenting on their comments, engaging, and then doing that consistently over time. When the time is right, they're like, oh, I'm looking to do something. Then they're going to remember you, right? Whether it's us as a realtor or you as a lender,
Hmm.
right?
Now, is
So
that something that AI can do?
as of right now, I would not leave it just to AI.
Okay.
I still think, AI is good for it. It makes the lift lighter. It makes our jobs in my life 30 to 40% easier, but we still have, assistants, virtual assistants that kind of help bridge that gap. And I think
Okay.
everyone really needs, or could benefit from leveraging virtual assistants that are trained with AI. I think that's the
Okay.
big play for, any business right now.
Um, now, so you mentioned about that virtual assistants and you mentioned GPTs.
Hmm.
Explain what GPTs are in English.
Okay, so a custom GPT is created in ChatGPT, which is owned by OpenAI. And essentially, you log into your account, and you can create a custom GPT, which is essentially, it's think of it as like a Word document or a file, right? I'm going to put all the context of what I what's relevant to the task is that I'm trying to create this GPT for.
Hmm.
So one could be for listing descriptions. I'm going to tell it, you know, here's a bunch of listing descriptions I like, train off of this, I want this, 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 this. I save that, and that is a custom GPT. So next time that we have a new listing, I'm going to go to that listing GPT, and then I'm going to say, here's the address, and then enter, and then it's going to spit out the listing description the way that I programmed it, right? for this new listing.
Okay.
So anything that you do repetitively, you want to basically create a toolkit of custom GPTs to help you, you know,
How long does it take to like create a GPT?
oh, you could do it within a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, some of them might be more elaborate, and it comes down to your the way that you approach it, because you can just do one, you like single GPTs,
Mhm.
or you can actually have a command GPT call upon other GPTs uh, that you created as well. So you don't have to click into each custom GPT. You can just work with that one command GPT that knows to call on all of the other ones. And that's the way that I do it.
So you could essentially almost pyramid the GPTs.
Yep.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
daisy chain it, right?
All right. Okay. Now and then so what about programming a virtual assistant? How long does it take to kind of get that virtual assistant up to the right speed?
Well, the virtual assistant is a person, just like
Oh, it's a
anyone. It's a
person.
person, just like
Oh.
just like you're sitting here with me, right? They're sitting at their desk,
Okay, I got
somewhere
you.
else in the world,
I got you.
uh, and they're doing that work. So
Okay, okay.
it's how long will it take to get a person up to speed on AI? That's essentially it. But what we do is we basically create custom GPTs for specific tasks, and then have them use those GPTs for those tasks.
What kind of tasks do you have the GPT create that takes what used to take a lot of time to minutes? You mentioned listings.
Listings, market updates, um, any type of communication, templates, emails, text emails. We use that to kind of refine it. Remember, I said, to stay on brand, we train it
Hmm.
in our voice, and then
Okay.
now we can kind of produce better copy for marketing materials, et cetera. But I think the biggest benefit is content, 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 content. That's what I've seen over the past year, where it's going, whether people recognize it or not. The biggest benefit of AI is the ability to create and produce content at scale for nothing, literally nothing, for the amount of compute that it takes. Like, everyone is so blessed, whether they realize it or not, to have these abilities. It's definitely we're in a whole new place.
I think one of the things you mentioned about like social media and engagement and personal engagement is that if you take the social media and you use it to produce the content, and then you take your free time to engage with the other people, then that's when you're gonna start to see a shift in your business, because the content by itself isn't going to do anything,
Hmm.
but the moment you start to engage and use that time to be engaging, then it's going to change the dynamic.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I think
Can I
that's a
add to
useful
that?
tool. Yeah, no, no,
So,
no, you're not allowed to ask.
thanks, Rich.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Um, you know, we know each other through business networking
Hmm.
and stuff, and I think the another way to articulate it or look at engagement
Hmm.
is we're taking what we do in person, that in person networking, and now we're transitioning that to digital. So we're digitally networking, and we
Okay,
can we can be way right. We can talk to way more people online than we
right,
can physically.
sure.
So I think if people can visualize that and then close that gap, that will help them generate more business and generate and convert more business online.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the agent and lender relationship.
Okay.
So what does an ideal lender agent partnership look like in an AI enabled world?
If you have a great lender such as yourself, um, right, like very supportive, very open minded, and very collaborative,
Mhm.
right? Because there's no science to this yet. Like, we're all learning as we go. And if you have someone that's flexible, that's willing to, you know, go into the battlefield with you, then I think that's as good as it gets.
Do you think agents should use AI with their lender or separately?
That's a great question. I think uh, that's probably new territory to figure out a way for agents and lenders to collaborate and use AI more effectively, but the opportunity is definitely there.
And what's a habit that you would immediately, what's a habit that an agent would do? And maybe we kind of touched on it that would immediately improve an agent's income. And I think that we touched on it with social media.
Yeah.
I think that was great. If you take anything away from this, I think that's the thing. That's my biggest takeaway. I appreciate that. Is there any other habits that you can think of?
AI, I think processing, like speaking to it, like working out your thoughts.
Hmm.
I think it's very rare for people to take time out of their day to just sit there with no interruption, in silence, and actually, just be there in silence and think, right? So I think AI has given us the ability to process more thoughts,
Mm.
right? So I would say that aspect of it, I feel like it should not be overlooked.
All right. So we're approaching the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
People are looking to the future
Mm-hmm.
and what their goals and expectations are going to be next year.
Mm-hmm.
What is a piece of advice that you would give about growth for next year for realtors who might be looking, or for really anybody who's self-employed, or business owners who are looking to grow their business? What's a good piece of advice that you would give?
Don't focus on the tool, focus on the technique.
Oh, got it. Okay.
If AI is a tool,
Yeah.
right, don't worry about should I use ChatGPT? Should I use Claude? Should I use Gemini? Should I use Grok? Don't worry about that so much. Focus on you and your business and what is the next layer that you need to add to your business. And then go from there. And then once you have that layer, then what is the next layer that can add to your business? And I think the easiest opportunity to capitalize on is content and social media.
And so, where can agents learn more about using AI the right way?
By using AI.
Well, I meant by calling Stephen Wang.
Yes. You can
Right.
call me anytime. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Again, challenging my programmer, my social media person, to make sure Stephen's number is down below. So he is Stephen Wang, our AI expert. I'm Rich Brandt, the loan doctor with the Brandt Lending team, and thank you for being in my waiting room.